So good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. So this morning, as I talk to the ladies, guys, I hope you're listening to, but I'm particularly talking to the women this morning because I know what it's like to feel like you've lost yourself. And I just kind of wanted to talk to that because I want you to know that the you that you were meant to be, like she's there. She hasn't gone away. And just because you've gotten kind of lost in all that is life, being a mom, perhaps being an employee, searching for love, or even in a relationship but not feeling love worthy or supported, going to a job every day where perhaps you don't feel validated or seen or valued at all. Maybe you're being overlooked, or you could be the person like me for years ago who was getting the promotions, but my internal self talk was causing me not to see it. And that's the part I want to talk about today. I want to talk to you about that internal, good morning, that internal messaging, that internal self talk. What is behind what you're dealing with on your job and perhaps in your relationships where you think it's them, but perhaps it is your internal belief system about you. See, for years when I worked at that television station, so I think if you guys are watching me over this week, I've talked about 10 years working at a television station, 3 years working for a nonprofit. The 10 years I was working at a television station, in the beginning of my career there, I was excited. I loved what I did. But over time, that fear crept in, the thoughts and beliefs that I wasn't good enough. We talked about the imposter syndrome. Like I full on had it there. But also, what I've learned over these years that I didn't know then was that regardless of what the people outside of me was doing, what my boss was doing, what her boss was doing and saying, I never heard the good accolades. I never heard congratulations. Oh, great job. The placards they kept giving me for my achievements. I never saw that or received that because of my internal dialogue. And so what I later learned is that I have a huge fear of rejection. So I call those a soul wound. And so typically what happens is we show up our wounded self. And when we are moving from our wound, particularly in the workplace, right, that is where you're going to get hit the most with the messaging of your wound. Now, here's why I believe this happens. I believe, because I'm a God girl, that God wants to heal every area of your life, all of it. And healing to me, guys, listen, healing is not, oh my, I got a disease and I want God to heal me. That's healing too. But those emotional scars, I believe that's the part that God also wants to heal, because those are the parts that we deal with every day. Those are the things that all of us have that no one knows about. And it's those places that many of us don't talk to people about. Maybe we don't even have the language for ourselves for what we're feeling, thinking, going through emotionally. I believe those are the secret places that God wants to go in your life. And so for me, I just had a huge feeling, belief, thought of rejection. I did not have the language for it back then, but the way it showed up in my life, particularly on my job, is that I thought when they didn't like my work, that they didn't like me. I thought everyone in the job was against me, that no one saw my talents, my gifts. And so I lived in like a pity party state. I was the victim. Everything was happening to me. No one saw me. I wasn't good enough. It doesn't make sense. I'm over here doing working hard, and all they do is see what this person does. No, they were seeing me too. I couldn't see them seeing me because it was like I had on sunglasses, or these eyeglasses had rejection written across them. So therefore, everything they did, everything I did, I saw it with the lens of rejection. So this morning, I just want to share with you those four wounds or those four fears that most of us struggle with, that maybe we aren't aware of. And so it's showing up on your job, it's showing up in your career, which ultimately filters out into all of your life. And I need you to be aware of these wounds, because you've got to begin to acknowledge, what are the messages that I'm getting? What do I believe about myself because of this big thing that I never even noticed before? And then today, if you're watching today and you're on your way to work, I want you to see if you see it on your job. So one of those wounds, as I said earlier, is rejection. That is the one that I tend to deal with. I immediately think that people are going to reject me. And because I didn't have the language for it, again, the way that came across for me was they didn't like my work. Nothing I said was ever good enough. I was overthinking everything because I was thinking like, I don't know, are they gonna believe me? Are they gonna really, do they want to really hear what I have to say? Do they trust my opinion? They say they want us to say, to share our thoughts and our opinion, but they never do what we offer because my internal dialogue was just talking so loud. The other fear that, and that most people deal with, it's like a fear or soul wound, is the fear of failure. Some people won't even start a project, or they won't start, particularly like on their jobs, they won't volunteer to be the leader of a thing because they're so afraid that they are going to fail. What if I fail? What if I get it wrong? What if I mess it up? And because of that fear of failure, you may be receiving that your boss don't trust you, but the truth is you don't trust you. So you have to have it in you so that when they see it in you, you can be in alignment and agreement with that. The second part is just not feeling worthy. Like some of us just don't feel worthy. We don't feel worthy to be in the room. We don't feel worthy to have our voice heard. We don't believe that we have anything good to offer. And when we're living in that state, but oof, in the workplace, that just shows up every single day. It creates stress. It creates anxiety. It just makes you feel overwhelmed all the time because you think nothing you do is good enough, and it's just reinforced. And so when your boss, your colleagues, whatever, comment on your work, it's not that what they say is so detrimental, it's what you believe about what they say. And oftentimes what they're saying is just incongruent with what you already believe, and so it hits harder. And so now you, instead of dealing with your own internal, you make them the enemy. And then the last one is to feel helpless, to feel like you're completely out of control. Some people are so afraid of being out of control. Like they have to, have every little detail, every I dotted. They got to know every little thing. So those kind of people, the way oftentimes that fear shows up for them is they got to control every little thing. So either you're the person who has to control everything, or you're the person who has to work with the person who has to control everything. That kind of person can drive you crazy. It is not that they are the worst person in the world or that you're the worst person in the world. It is your fear, your soul wound of believing that if you're out of control, if you're helpless, that everything is going to fall apart. And you cannot let this happen on your watch. So I want you to start thinking about that. Now, there are other wounds or fears that show up, things that comes from being abandoned as a child. All these things are showing up on your job. Now, what it took me 10 years and leaving that job, going to another job, so here's additional 13 years, for God to finally reveal to me, because I'm slow, and I didn't know this way of teaching, this way of thinking. He was like, I was using those jobs because I wanted to heal your wound of rejection. But because you are so unaware, right? One of my programs is called Awakening. Because you're asleep in your heart and in your mind, you're not aware. You don't have any awareness of you. You couldn't even see it. You were so busy focusing on them. So I was in the victim mind state. I thought everything was happening to me. Now, when you move into the I forgot what Michael Bethel called it, but the growth mindset, right? You begin to recognize that everything is happening for you. It's not just happening to you. So all those years on my job, when I was experiencing all of that, it was really happening to help me grow to another level, to get to another place that God wanted to take me. It took me 13 years leaving those jobs, getting into the biggest level of rejection, betrayal, being completely broken, finally saying, oh my God, Lord, I need help. And when I ask for help, this is when all of these things begin to come to me. So listen, I pray for you that you don't have to lose that many years, that you will decide right now today that you're going to do something to awaken to who God is calling you to be, to heal those places in your heart and your mind so that you're not on a job that you hate and just missing all of the messages, missing all of the wonderful opportunities to heal, that you can get what you need because you decided to show up for yourself. So when you decide to do that, I promise you, your life will shift, your life will change, and your work environment will feel like a different place. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Do me a favor. If this has blessed you at all, share this out and continue to be a blessing to others. Heal so that you can be a blessing to others. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.